Hey everybody, this is Travis Fritts from Old Nation Brewing Company. I'd like to share a little information on Oktoberfest beers generally and Old Nation's Oktoberfest beer particularly. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. We'll jump right in. Oktoberfest beer was made as a celebration beer. There was a wedding in Munich, Queen Teresa at the time. That's probably all the information we really need. That party was so great, they wanted to have it the next year. It turned into a horse race. I wanted to have it several succeeding years, and it just became a big outdoor kind of harvest festival in Bavaria, which is in southeast Germany. Munich is the biggest town, and it happened in Munich. So this fest had pretty much the same seven, more or less, the numbers changed a little bit throughout history, but the same seven breweries in Munich making beer exclusively for the Oktoberfest up until now. It's still only those seven breweries are allowed to sell their beer at the Oktoberfest. And they sort of grouped together as a Munich Brewers Guild to dictate what Oktoberfest beer would be. So initially, it was a Märzen Vienna Oktoberfest. So a little bit darker, a little bit richer, a little bit stronger beer. Märzen's generally brewed and lagered over the winter and then sold in March. Essentially, these brewers were taking whatever they had left over from Märzen, cutting it with younger beer, serving it at the festival. That happened from the 1800s all the way through the 1970s. And sometime in the late 70s, early 1980s, these brewers got together and said that they would like to make a beer that was more palatable for sort of international folks that were showing up at the Munich Oktoberfest. So what ended up happening was they essentially made what's called an anniversary beer everywhere else in Germany, which is a little stronger, little richer, Pilsner essentially, or Helles type beer that are generally brewed for anniversary parties or holidays anyway. And they just kind of took that idea of beer and switched it over to what is now called Fest beer. Not Oktoberfest beer specifically, but Fest beer. So if you go to the Oktoberfest now, you'll get this lighter, kind of richer Pilsner. Whereas before the 1970s, you'd get this darker, really rich, stronger Märzen type beer that generally has a copper color. Kind of the flavors of toasted bread and biscuit are in there. A little bit of a pronounced bitterness just to balance the kind of maltiness. And remember, in Oktoberfest, when we say malty, we don't mean sweet. We mean a big round flavor of kind of, again, bread, toast, biscuit. So that is what Old Nation's Oktoberfest beer is. It's the initial kind of conception of what Oktoberfest beer was supposed to be. Deeper, richer, still smooth, very drinkable, light on the palate, but somehow round and complete. And for me, as the guy who made this beer, this is the best Oktoberfest I've ever made this year. Some of the slightly rough edges we had on the beer last year, we've shaved away by improving our process and the kind of yeast that we use and stuff like that there in Detroit. So I'm excited about this. I hope you guys are excited about this. Welcoming in fall with Old Nation's Oktoberfest beer. I hope you have a great time selling it and drinking it as well. Thanks a lot.